It's 4 o'clock on your Friday afternoon. Thanks for joining us. We had a beautiful start to the day. Once again, though, we're tracking a chance for storms in the next couple hours.
Some places could see hail, even a tornado warning tonight, so definitely keep track.
Yep, and in Dakota, it was a hot day after an earthquake happened early this morning there. Evan Krugel will join us live in that area in just a minute to talk more about that event. But first, we want to talk about your weekend forecast. Corey Reppenhagen is joining us tonight, tracking where are those storms headed, Corey?
Well, tonight the storms will be on the northeast plains. All weekend the storms will be pretty far to the east, so we're not looking at any threat of severe weather in the Denver area, but we do have a threat of some 90-degree heat. So we have a very warm weekend, the warmest weekend of the year so far here in Denver. We hit 91 degrees here in downtown Denver today. We did not make it to 90 at Denver International Airport just yet, so tomorrow might be that first official 90-degree day here in Denver. This is the area that we're watching tonight. This severe thunderstorm watch goes all the way until 10 o'clock. These are the areas that we'll be watching for those stronger storms. Not much activity here along the Front Range. A few storms trying to form in the area, but they'll likely have a better chance once they get out here to the northeast plains. Here's what your day looks like in Denver tomorrow. Very warm day, lots of sunshine early. The storms come in at about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We're not looking at any rain likely here in Denver, but the temperature is up there into the 90s for the first time officially this year, and this is the temperatures across the rest of the area. A whole bunch of 90s on the board across the Front Range, Eastern Plains, and some 70s and 80s in the foothills and the mountains. Talk about that heat coming up in just a few minutes.
Corey, thank you. Today, people living near Dakota might have been woken up to some shaking and some rumbling. There was a 2.9 magnitude earthquake that shook the area this morning.
That's right. It happened just after 6 this morning. 9 News reporter Evan Krugel is standing at the epicenter of that quake. Evan, it's the talk of the town and communities north of Denver today.
Yeah, it sure is. That earthquake happened underneath an alfalfa field here at Johnston Family Farms. And while it wasn't big enough to cause any damage, it certainly caught a lot of folks up here by surprise. Life as a farmer is all about routine.
Everybody kind of has their job that they do on the farm.
For Daryl Johnston, that job is cutting alfalfa, something he's done on his family farm near Dakota for decades.
I enjoy this, so this is one of the jobs that I do.
The days are simple, the rhythm steady, the fields quiet.
That's for sure.
Until this morning.
It was just two big booms, and it shook the house, and I thought, uh-oh, something exploded.
Daryl ran outside.
I was looking for fire, I was looking for smoke, and the neighbor to the east here, a mile away, he called me up and he says, "Did you feel that?"
That's when he got the news that an earthquake had been recorded nearby.
Until my buddy called me back and he says, "The map shows that that's right over your house."
The epicenter of that 2.9 magnitude quake was on the edge of one of his fields, just a few hundred feet from Daryl's home, where friends are now questioning his involvement.
Right, well, yeah, they're like, did you sit in the wrong pew at church, or, or did you not go to church maybe?
Less than a mile away.
Yeah, the extent of damage.
James Lee documented the damage.
The whole house shook for 2 seconds, and I was like, what the heck's going on? And then this is the extent of the damage. My children's toys fell over.
Daryl hasn't found any damage either.
No. No.
And his wife Cindy doesn't remember a thing.
There's not too many people that can say they sleep through an earthquake, but she didn't know about it until she got up.
So much of a farmer's life revolves around the calendar. Daryl knows this day is one he won't forget.
I'll always say, wait a minute, did that have anything to do with Friday the 13th? This is one for the books, for sure.
Now you have to go all the way back to 2014 to find an earthquake this size in Colorado. That one happened just north of here up in Greeley. Again, no damage reports in this area so far, but certainly an incredible story that Daryl and other folks in this area will never forget on their Friday the 13th. Reporting live in Dakota, Evan Krugel, 9 News.
Evan, I was just going to bring up Friday the 13th and the fact, though, too, that In Colorado, people are not used to earthquakes, so his first thought was an explosion. Someone coming from California, that's beyond me.
Right, and there have been some explosions in this area. Don't forget the big one in Firestone. So that was his initial thought was, uh-oh, something exploded outside my house. He came outside, there was no fire, there was no smoke. That's when he found out what actually had happened, an earthquake right there on the field in his backyard.
Even for Friday the 13th. Best case scenario, I think. All right, Evan, thank you. The United States Geological Survey says it got more than 500 reports from people living in northern Colorado. All these folks feeling the earthquake early this morning, calling it in.
That's right. Well, while people could feel it, a geophysicist we talked with says it wasn't strong enough to cause any damage.
People who were just in that northern Denver metro area were likely to have felt it. It would have been probably a nice, strong little jolt that was surprising, maybe a little bit scary for folks who felt it, especially if they didn't know what it was. But it's not something that would have caused damage. Usually we don't worry about earthquakes causing damage until they're magnitude 4-ish or larger. But certainly folks felt it.
And if you felt the earthquake today and want to share, you can tell the USGS about it. Just visit our 9 News website and click on this story. The woman who hit and killed an up-and-coming teen cyclist was sentenced this afternoon to 4 years in prison. Yeva Smilyanska passed out at the wheel just before running down Team USA rider Magnus White in 2023.
White was riding on the paved shoulder of Colorado Highway 119 when Smilyanska's car drifted off the road at 60 miles an hour and hit him. Kevin Vaughn from our 9 News Investigates team, you were in court today. You join us from Boulder tonight. Can you kind of sum up how this sentencing went, Kevin?
Well, Jenny and Sam, sentencing hearings are always difficult and emotional, and today's was exceptionally so. Even the judge at one point took a moment to wipe away her own tears. One by one, the people who loved Magnus White talked about the loss of a 17-year-old who had already made a mark in the cycling world and in their lives. His father described his life as a nightmare from which he cannot escape, and his mother said her pain is so great she awakens each morning hoping it will be the day she dies. They questioned whether Yeva Smilyanska had any remorse for what she did. After Smilyanska spoke and apologized, Judge Dee Lindsay said she saw in her a chance for rehabilitation. Then she issued a sentence that was less than the 6-year maximum allowed by law. The process was torturous, according to Magnus White's father.
The wave of emotions as the judge was going through all her reasonings and then, coming ultimately to the sentence, it's torture.
In making the decision, the judge said that she had reviewed numerous other similar cases and found that the 6-year maximum sentence was given only in cases where the people engaged in extremely aggravated behavior, like, say, eluding the police, or had extensive criminal records. Neither of those factors applied in this case, she said. Live in Boulder, Kevin Vaughn, 9 News.
It is sad, though, Kevin, that we have other cases we can even refer to because we know we have issues here with pedestrians and cyclists getting hit and killed on the road. That road, Kevin, is actually, there's upgrades happening on that road now, trying to make it even safer for future cyclists. But thank you for this conclusion to the story. I know we've been following from the beginning, and it is just devastating. Kevin, thank you. The man who had murder charges against him dropped is now suing the city of Denver. Today, Stefan Long filed a federal lawsuit claiming racial bias and selective prosecution by the city of Denver and 2 police officers. In June of 23, Long says that he feared for his life when he shot and killed Damon and Blake Lucas on I-25 near 8th. It was during a road rage incident. Police arrested him moments later. He was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Long claimed self-defense. Eventually, those charges against him were dropped. The lawsuit is now seeking damages for the time that he spent in jail. Just into our newsroom this afternoon, the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment has confirmed another measles case in our state. This time, it's an adult who lives in Boulder County. Health Department says that person visited several places around Denver and Boulder that they're worried about exposure to other people between June 3rd and June 6th, so last week. Here's a list of the known places: the Market Building on 16th, the RTD Flatiron Flyer, both Denver and Boulder locations, the Little Finch Coffee Shop on 16th, a Whole Foods on Wewata, and Rosetta Hall on Walnut Street in Boulder. Here's what we know about the individual. Health officials say they had recently traveled to Europe. This person was fully vaccinated, so this is a breakthrough case. Anyone who visited the affected location should monitor your symptoms and monitor for a couple of weeks. Symptoms include fever, cough, runny nose, and of course the characteristic rash.
Former Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Antonio Brown is wanted on attempted murder charges. Brown was detained after a fight with several people at a celebrity boxing event last month. The former football player claimed on social media he was jumped by people attempting to steal his jewelry. According to a warrant, police have cell phone video of the shooting showing the victim being grazed in the neck by a bullet. The person survived, and Brown is facing attempted murder charges.